It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. It makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. It's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and bonds and the ink stains that have dried upon some line. That keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory. That keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy painted on their columns now that bind me. Or something that somebody said because they thought we'd fit together walking. It's not knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiving when I walk around the railroad track and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. I dip my cup of soup back from a gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. My beard a rustling towel and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cup hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breast and find that you're waiting from the back roads by the rivers of my memories, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind. Friday evening, everybody. Sorry for being a little late, but we had a little technical glitch, and by technical glitch I mean that I lost my entire McFile screen tonight before it came on, so I had to rebuild them. It was operator error, nobody else's error, and it's not Chris Lemon's fault. Speaking of the aforehand Chris Lemon, I wanted to welcome her to the show tonight and say hello to her. It's been a long time dropped since I seen you. Every time I have you on, I get pinged with all sorts of messages about some person over in North Carolina, South Carolina, escaping from an insane asylum, and they say that they sound just like you. But I defend your honor when I hear that kind of stuff. So welcome back, buddy. How you been?
Doing very, very well.
Now, I expected a better comeback. You're losing your touch. I usually expect a better comeback when I insult you like that than that. That's weak, Lemon. That's just weak. What am I paying you for to come on the show, man? Come on.
I haven't seen the last paycheck you're supposed to have sent me, so until I get that other one, you ain't getting anything out of me.
I'm not getting nothing.
The previous paycheck, that bounced. So
did it bounce? Oops.
Oops. It bounced. So
Well,
I don't
this is our Friday night free for all. We started a brand new year, first Friday night of the year, so you should feel honored. You're only the second guest I've had this year so far.
What happened to the first one?
Well, they wasn't number 2 like you, and I'll just leave it at that. I will let that joke hang in the air. But you're my favorite number 2. Okay. How about them Panthers? By the way, how about them? Well, I shouldn't say nothing because those 2-14 Panthers beat my sucky Falcons, so I shouldn't be insulting your team. So
I can't get them up here.
Really?
No.
Wow.
No.
Is it a network issue?
Yeah, because Tennessee, we have the Titans, and they actually will show the Falcons
and the Titans.
Yep. Which is weird because I'm 5 hours from Atlanta, but 3 hours from Charlotte.
I know where you're at, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
go figure.
I didn't bring you on to talk about the Panthers tonight. I wanted to chat with you because you and I have known each other. We're going on 6 years now. And I know that back in the latter part of 2019, the Jeffrey Epstein story was really beginning to bubble. And in 2020, he didn't kill himself, but he went somewhere and was hung in his cell with half the prison guards watching, and no way to get into that cell but a bulldozer. And I've got all sorts of theories, and we got some other stuff we're going to share tonight. So, by the way, let me do a house cleaning issue, Lemon. We're welcoming you to the Friday Night McFiles. Me and Lemon were just chit-chatting. This is a live network show tonight. We're going to have some memes and some other stories. But I wanted to bring my buddy, Lenny, drop on, and we may have Ron Edwards pop in here shortly, if he's still up tonight, to talk with us about this. But I want to get your take on everything you've been watching the last few days. This judge, Chris, she basically had them release the stuff, and I've got her picture up. She's a looks like a Trump appointee, but this lady's got a lot of courage to basically let these things go forward. But what's your take on everything, and tell me what you've been finding out, and of all the names that have been out there, what's your biggest surprise?
It seems like just about daily there's more documents being released, and it's hard to even go through them. But my biggest take is everybody that was brought up during the depositions, whether it was via videotape or even in the trial, if you were brought up, you were mentioned, it's being released.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, you're hearing Trump's name being brought up. Folks, Trump's name was brought up. It's in the flight logs, okay? What they're not mentioning is that his ex-wife, Marla Maples, his young daughter at the time, Tiffany, and the nanny were also on the flight. They don't mention that he went from Palm Beach to D.C. to Teterboro. And it was also common knowledge that a lot of these billionaires, millionaires, they would kind of all fly, if they were all going from Palm Beach to New York, they would always kind of fly together, saving on fuel and flight time with the pilots, and they would just all fly together, and that's what happened.
Right.
And it wasn't, But they, the left doesn't want you to know that because it just destroys their narrative. So there you have it, folks. I have had the copy of the flight log for years.
Yeah, you had the original. I remember us talking about this back again. It was 2019, I think, when this stuff first started bubbling. Let me ask you a question. I won't keep you on tonight. I know it's late, but I do want to sort of pick your brain about this while I got you. I was watching some reporting, and it's not a big news flash, and I think the media is making a mistake by blowing up the Clinton angle. We already knew Bill Clinton was on that list. And they went out of their way. Fox went way out of their way to let everybody know. I watched Joe Concha, and Joe's been on my program a couple of times. It was back, in 2020, and of course he's gotten on to bigger things. I don't know if we could get him back tonight. But Joe's on the morning shows early, and I was sort of expecting a harder punch about all this, and he went out of his way, almost tripping over himself. And I'm not saying that bad. I like Joe. But the whole networks are saying that nobody's done anything wrong. There's no proof that anybody's done anything wrong on these flight lists. But, Chris, I would disagree with that. And, again, I'm not accusing people because I don't know. God knows I don't know what went on those islands. I mean, some of this stuff that we've heard and some of this tawdry stuff. And, you were there. What was the company? I've forgotten the company. What was the big other story that we covered with you?
NXIVM.
NXIVM, the NXIVM stuff. And after the NXIVM trials and the guy going to prison for decades, a lot of the victims started coming forth. But this is a different kind of situation. This is pedophilia. I mean, pure black and white pedophilia that evidently was going on those islands. And a lot of the stories, the testimonies that's coming out in these trials are torrid stuff. I mean, and so forth. And the media has continued, even to this hour, Chris, to throw this water and say, well, there was nothing down there that was criminal. And what's your thoughts on that? When you hear all that stuff, what's your thoughts? Because you've covered this again for really from the start.
The thing is that when the FBI, the FBI went to, I think it's St. James Island, Epstein's private island. They raided the island and took evidence. They have all the videotapes, everything that they could gather, saves. They have everything that they need on everybody.
Now, when you say everybody, are we talking everybody on that flight list? I mean, and I'm glad you. Let me just interject this. I'm not going to interrupt you. I want you to keep going. But I'm glad you brought up Trump because the media was salivating. They were salivating about him being on that list. But the distinction is those that were on the flight list may not necessarily have went to the island. I saw Bruce Willis's name on there. And I do not believe in a million years Bruce Willis would have went to that island. Bruce Willis is a conservative actor. I mean, he's an actor. He's out in Hollywood. But Bruce Willis, from what all I can hear about him, he's an outstanding, he's a patriot, to be honest with you. And he has helped a lot of this, the exposure to pedophiles, Mel Gibson certainly. But, Chris, they're lumping everybody on the plane list with people that perhaps was involved in pedophilia. And that may be more of a tricky scope and tricky slope to try to figure that out. And so when you say video evidence of everybody, I want to make it clear that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody on that flight list went down to that island. Is that a fair statement?
That's very fair. The flight log. If you look at the flight log, on the flight log they have where the plane originated and where it went. Where it took off from, where it landed. And they go by at the airport. When you book a flight, say you would be taking off from Knoxville, okay? Whatever the airport code is for Knoxville, and you're flying to wherever you're going to fly. Say you're flying to Charlotte, so it would be CHA,
right,
or whatever the airport code for Charlotte is. Okay, that would be the codes, Or if I was flying from Tri-Cities here, it'd be TRI, and I would fly. Say I was flying to Hartford, it would be VDL, Bradley International Airport. Okay, so that would be the two codes. That's what you would look at, is see where you're taking off from and where you're landing at. Okay, so when you look at the flight logs and you see Trump's name in there, you can see Palm Beach, I think it's PBITET for Teterboro. But there's one where it shows PBIDCA, which would be, I think it would be one of the airports in Washington, D.C., and then it shows the DCA to TET, which means it landed in D.C., then took off from D.C. and went to Teterboro Airport. And then it shows it reversed and going back from Teterboro back to Palm Beach.
So he never went to Epstein Island. And again, his son posted something today, Don Jr., and he was absolutely right. And I'm going to show, when we get to the news section of the show tonight, before we take your questions out there tonight, it's Friday Free for All. We'll let you be free for all. But I love what he said. He said the left is more upset tonight, Chris, that Trump wasn't on that list to Epstein's Island than they are about the pedophilia that went on Epstein's Island. And that's the left for you. That's the Democrats tonight, correct?
Yep. Because they know, and going through what I've gotten so far, of course, Alan Dershowitz is sitting there. He's beside himself.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Well, Clinton's beside himself too, because there's comments being made that he said he liked him young. And we're going to have Leslie Millway on first of the week, and we talked to Leslie tonight. She's our prayers for her husband tonight. He's going through surgery, but Leslie's going to be with us, and Leslie's got sort of some bad history with the Clintons, and I guarantee you that caught her attention. She likes him young, and look, that's been his history. That's been his MO.
Yep.
And look, that's some sick stuff. But the media don't even talk about that. That's just going to be said on Twitter handles and basically conservative networks and people like that. That's the only people who's going to bring that stuff up, because they're going to protect Clinton at all costs, but they're not going to try to protect Trump. They don't care.
No.
They don't care if Trump didn't go down there. They're going to make it insinuate that he has been down there, but we want to make it 1,000,000% clear tonight that Trump never laid foot on that island. And we got a video we're going to play tonight that he basically kicked Mr. Epstein's arse out of Mar-a-Lago and that country club down there, Chris. And he had very, very little dealings other than that flight that you talked about with Epstein. Now, let me keep us on track here. What is your thoughts about these Hollywood elites? Jimmy Kimmel is one I'm thinking about. Got upset with Aaron Rodgers. Me and your football fans, and Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback for the Jets now. And Aaron was basically prodding him a little bit on one of the sports shows this week and sort of alluded to the fact that Kimmel was on the flight log. Well, Kimmel goes out there and threatens Rodgers with a defamation suit, and guess what, Chris? Jimmy Kimmel's on the flight log. He's on that Epstein flight list. My question to you.
That was faked.
Oh, was it faked?
It was faked. But here is a little bit of information. Kimmel went into business with Epstein's personal chef when Epstein's personal chef opened a restaurant. He went into business with him. So technically, if you want to kind of say guilt by association.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this to you. I'm going to ask you this. This is just off topic a little bit. Do you not think? And again, I've got mixed opinions about this whole stuff, and my opinion is probably going to go against the grain out there. about this Epstein client list. It does make you wonder the timing of this right now. The media's focus is on this list. Twitter's focus is on this list. There ain't a YouTube channel, and ours included tonight, that's not talking about it. I think it's definitely something we need to talk about. But, Chris, has this not got our attention off the problems of the country? And we've got a border invasion going on. You've got a would-be pint dictator, a nursing home freaking dictator that can't even say Happy New Year without a cue card to Ryan Seacrest the other night. He gets in front of a mic today and basically, trashes probably 70 million Americans and calls us all who support Trump mega extremists and insults a lot of people. And he's been doing that from day one. And his son and him are basically traitors, to the utmost kind with the China and Burisma contacts. By the way, Burisma got legal counsel today. But my question to you, it's an opinion question. With Epstein dead, what value does this list do if no charges and nobody goes to jail for what happened down there on that island? My take on this, it is a big distraction. It's a nothing burger, because, again, it gets our attention focused on these theories. I heard somebody ask me today that there's some channels out there that's claiming Epstein is alive, which is a bunch of hogwash. And I do not believe that. I don't. Even Megyn Kelly was biting into that apple today on her network, on her show. What's your thoughts on all this? Just curious.
I heard the Megyn Kelly thing, and a lot of people were like, "What is she saying?" Now. To me, when they started dropping, first it was when they said, okay, we're not going to release the documents. There's going to be a 22-day hold because of somebody worrying about the threat. Look, you've had all this time, all these years, and I'm like, no, you've had all this time. To me, the names of the people that are on here, some, this is just documents. This is just from the court proceedings, whether it's from the trial. They haven't even released the flight logs.
Right.
Okay, we haven't seen the flight.
Let me stop you right there. Do you think that is where the meat then comes from for criminal prosecution? Is not so much this client list, but it's the flight logs. And the other question I got is, how long do you think Ghislaine Maxwell holds out before she starts running her trap and giving up the goods? Because, Chris, you and I both know some of these people that were involved with him in this manner. And again, he was a billionaire. And he associated with a lot of elements of our culture and our society. He did. He had his hand into everything. But that's one thing. But having sex with underage kids, that's another thing. That's criminal. You're supposed to you need to spend the rest of your natural-born freaking pathetic life in prison for that, okay?
There's the thing is all these people that, they want to talk, they've wanted to talk to, nobody's talking, she's sitting, they offer, apparently, they offered her a deal. Look, you talk, you give us the information we want, we'll give you less time in jail. She's serving 20 years. They offered her less time.
She didn't take it.
And she didn't take it.
Didn't take it.
The jury gave her 20 years. The prosecution said, look, all you got to do is just tell us what we want to know, and we will give you less time. And she didn't take the deal.
How powerful of people you think we're talking about here? Look, it's a given. It's a given. I got a funny meme of thanks to our friends from the Babylon Bee tonight, where Hillary Clinton was at a Bass Pro Sporting Goods shop buying a sniper rifle. This thing, Hillary Clinton spotted today buying a sniper rifle, and look, you ain't got to be a political savvy person to understand what that means. What that insinuates. What's going to happen? Bill didn't kill himself. Let me just say that Bill Clinton didn't kill himself tonight. That's all I got to say.
I can guarantee you that they've moved her to a very secure place where she can't. Oh yeah, Maxwell's probably already been moved.
Okay.
I can guarantee you she's been moved from where they've housed her. The only secured location that they could probably put her where she can't get touched is the Supermax in Florence, Colorado.
Now, what is the difference, in your opinion, between the client list and the flight logs? This today was the client list, correct? Because I want to make sure we get the facts straight. I don't want to be putting anything out here tonight that we're not 100% accurate on, because I know that there's a lot of confusion. I've been watching Twitter, and I just want to say this as a warning to our audience tonight. Be very, very careful of what you're watching out there on that Twitter land, because there's a lot of people taking liberties with what's going on and making it's just like the Q crap from years ago, making their own little ideology world out of it and their own little playground out of it. And the facts we need to stay true to what's actually going on. So help me here that what was released today was the flight list or the client list. Are they the same thing?
The client list, what you're seeing being put out there, that's being constantly released every day to at least twice a day, you're seeing are just documents with everybody's name that was either called to testify during the trial or was deposed because they were subpoenaed. So the flight log is everybody that ever flew on the plane that was ever the main flight log that everybody should be interested in is the one to the private island where they had cameras in the tunnel underneath the thing.
Okay. Now, when is that coming out?
Those videos and everything that was on the island in his home was seized by the FBI.
Did you hear about the story today? Is that what you're talking about, with the office that was broken into and they had all those and they went missing today? Because there's a story we got that there was some kind of break-in at that either one of his handlers' place or somebody tied to Epstein, and there was either a raid or a break-in, and a lot of the stuff was stolen tonight. Of course, that shouldn't surprise anybody. It's always how this happens. Is that what you're referring to, or is this something else?
After they had arrested Epstein, in New York when he had landed and they were waiting on him at the airport, they had some kind of warrant and went to St. John's Island, his private island. They went in there and they found videotapes, CDs, saves, and everything, and they had seized all of it. There used to be a video. I don't know if it's still put on. You would have to really search for it, showing the FBI inside the home on the island and seizing all this evidence. The FBI has the evidence from the island. Of the inside the tunnels and of people who were there. They have this. They know who has been there. The flight logs will verify everything. The videos and the flight logs, as you put it all together, which would verify it. But of course, as long as who was it that was in charge?
Louis Freeh.
Yes, he's on the list.
Yeah, Louis Freeh's on the list.
Yeah, on the. Let's see. Hold on, because I'm making a spreadsheet here. Hold on.
I'm going to go ahead and read this story. This is out of Chuck Calesto's Twitter handle, and it says Epstein fixer Michael Stirrick's office was burglarized tonight, and computer servers were stolen hours before this drop over the New Year's holiday. Strick and Company, a prominent global crisis public relations firm known for representing high-profile clients, including Jeffrey Epstein, fell victim to a burglary. The thieves targeted the company's penthouse offices at 11999 San Vicente Boulevard in Brentwood, along with other businesses in the same four-story building, stealing company computers. The incident occurred just hours before a collection of long confidential court documents pertaining to Epstein and admitted pedophile were made public. So these were court documents, as you said, of things relating to these lawsuits. Michael Stirrick, the head of the firm, reported the break-in amidst the release of these explosive new documents detailing Epstein's illegal activities with underage girls. So, Chris, basically what you're talking about is something else. So the FBI's got the videos, but there was another break-in tonight prior to this drop. My question to you, buddy, look, I'm not expecting you to come on here and solve the Epstein case, but I do have a question for you as an opinion. We got to wrap this up. Do you think we're going to see the truth ever come out about this? What really went on down there in those islands and what didn't?
No. Not until they clean up the FBI and the DOJ. Until you clean house, until you clean house. I mean, literally get rid of the DOJ, get rid of the FBI. Seriously, you've got to clean house.
Do you think that ever happens?
Nope. And you look. The corruption is so bad. When Louis Freeh was in charge of the FBI, if I'm right, if I remember this correctly, he was in charge of the FBI when Epstein was busted during the Clinton time in the White House.
Right.
Okay. They had a chance to put Epstein away.
They did.
For a very, very long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And they did not do it. Because Freeh was on the take. They knew that they had him.
Have we had an FBI director yet that ain't been on the take, just to be honest with you?
No. We've never had an FBI. From the time that J. Edgar Hoover opened shop for the FBI until now, we've never had an FBI director. That was true. Not on the tape.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to dismantle it. You've got to get rid of the DOJ. You've got to get rid of, the FBI and basically start from the ground up. And once you do that, you're not going to see anything happen. Everybody's so willing to go after Trump, but when you start going after the Democrats, it's like, no, you can't touch them.
Well, that's just the political, that's the political horror of it. But let me ask you this, got to wrap it up. I got about 2 minutes. Where does this go from here? Do we see any indictments coming from this? Do we see anything developing? And what do you think, of your opinion? I have to tell you, the Copperfield thing, David Copperfield, the magician, I was not aware. That was sort of an eye-opener. Look, the Gates, the elites in Hollywood, all these Hollywood types, being down there, that shouldn't surprise us. Naomi Campbell, for God's sake. I mean, some of these names, these people are Oprah. I'm sure it was Oprah on the list. I'm sure she was. I've heard that her name was on there, but
Stephen Hawkins.
Hey, look, there's rumblings. I saw a post on Twitter tonight, and I'm not trying to make light of this, Chris, but they basically claimed he was engaging in underage orgies. And again, that's kind of stuff that gets out there. It just sullies the truth. I mean, the man was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
The man was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
he's paraplegic.
That was in the, I think it's in one of the documents.
Was it? Do you believe that?
That wouldn't shock me. I mean, you know, before he became a
paraplegic.
Yeah.
Okay. So this happened before he had some problems.
Probably.
Physically. Okay.
Let's see. You had let's see, Noam Chomsky was a political philosopher. Epstein had numerous OBGYN internalist doctors on his Rolodex.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people that just were like, let's see, Rashad's therapist.
Right. Well, Liz, it's ultimately, and our time is out. So what we'll do. I'm gonna have you back on in a few weeks. We'll sort through this list because I know that there's a lot of documents that we've got to go through and deal with it. But I did want to get you on and get your opinion because you've been covering this story as an investigative journalist really from before it was cool. You were on top of the Epstein stuff way back in the NXIVM days. And was there any ties to him in NXIVM?
No.
No. Okay. So it was two separate things. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, buddy, listen, I wish I could keep you all night. I got some other guests coming up behind you here, and I'm going to have to let you go. Listen, it's so good to see you. You know, I only rag you because I love you, and I hope you had a good New Year and a Merry Christmas, and we're looking forward to having you on the show again this year. And I've got a gut feeling that some of this stuff that's going to be revealed, Chris, is going to be some dark, dark stuff, but shouldn't shock us. I mean, nope. Jeffrey Epstein was a dark individual now. I tell you, if you've seen any documentaries on him, he was, you know, there was just something about his presence. His presence around people was very foreboding and controlling and manipulative. Just watching him talk to Ghislaine, I mean, you could sense the evil just watching a video of this guy. And, you know, look, it don't surprise me, but all I can hope for the victim's sake, that the release of these documents will bring some sort of closure and some sort of revelation to what actually went on, not this Twitter world of insanity that people just throwing stuff on the wall out there. But, you know, we enter the world of the internet at our own peril sometimes, but I hope that the truth will stay with us. Buddy, I appreciate it. Listen, I hate to let you go, but I gotta split. God bless Chris Lemon and the Lemon Drop. Have a good one. Have a great week, and I'll be in touch with you, dear.
Okay, you too.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Chris Lemon, everybody. We're grateful for her, and we hope that you enjoyed that little discussion with her. And let me just check with my other guests that I'm going to go ahead and bring Ron on in because I got a lot to talk about, but let me see if he's going to answer his phone. It's getting late at night. Let me see if Ron's going to answer because I got to talk to him about something else tonight. We'll take your questions on the Epstein stuff here at the end of the show tonight. We're going to be with you just a little while. We were a little late getting on because of some technical issues. Let's see here.
Hi, this is Ron Edwards, host of the Edwards Notebook Commentary. I'm out blowing away the myths and revealing the truth as I rebuild the 7 pillars of society.
Ron's rebuilding the 7 pillars of society, so he must be on a pillar tonight. And we missed him. We tried to get him on. I want to talk to him about the Biden comments today because this dictator-in-chief was out there basically trashing all the MAGA people today. Got to play a couple of videos for you tonight before we get into the memes, and we're going to take your questions, I promise. I know you're biting at the bit. This is Friday free-for-all. I can feel the energy out there. People just wanting to go at it. Let's look at a few videos that we've downloaded for you today. Got a lot of news. we may not get to all of this tonight. We may have to put some of this on Monday night when our Monday Madness show comes on. Here's Amy Robach.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us in a million different ways.
That's the other issue, are the royals. Prince Andrew was neck deep in this too. This thing with Epstein doesn't just touch America; it touches the whole. It touches the whole world. Keep going.
We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
That was Amy Robach on Project Veritas just, I think, today or yesterday with James O'Keefe. They censored her really bad at her network. I think it was ABC. And basically lost her career because she had the goods. She had the goods, and makes you wonder, had she been able to go forth with what she knew, how many victims could have been spared? And that's another discussion for another time. But there were people that were sounding the alarm. Here's another video relating to this tonight. This is one of the victims that was on the documents. Roll the tape. That is also the Russian model there. She was underage, but she jumped to her death in suicide. And there's likely probably a lot of these victims that have suffered that same fate because of what happened down on the island. Here is, let's see here. There's another video I wanted to show relating to this. This is President Trump today, I think, or it's actually 2019. This is when the media tried to paint Trump into the same world as these people that very well could have committed criminal acts down on that island. And I do want to echo Joe Concha's statement, because Joe was right this morning, that it's very important we understand that none of these people on that list, on those planes, at least as of now, have been charged. Ghislaine Maxwell's the only one in prison. You heard Chris Lemon tonight, got 20 years. They offered her less to basically give up the goods on those that were doing this stuff with her, and she wouldn't take it. Roll the tape. Here's Trump in 2019 about all this.
I was not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein, and you watched people yesterday saying that I threw him out of a club. I didn't want anything to do with him. That was many, many years ago. It shows you one thing, that I have good taste, okay? Now, other people, they went all over with him. They went to his island. They went all over the place. He was very well known in Palm Beach. His island, whatever his island was, wherever it is, I was never there. Find out the people that went to the island. But Jeffrey Epstein was not somebody that I respected. I threw him out. In fact, I think the great James Patterson who's a member of Mar-a-Lago, made a statement yesterday that many years ago I threw him out. I'm not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein.
And that's as clear as you can get. He was not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein, and he was never on that island. The media is trying to insinuate tonight that he was, but that was in 2019, and so forth. All right, that's enough about that tonight. I could put a few other things up. I mentioned the burglary. This was a headline out of Gateway Pundit, I believe, and we already read you the article. That was off of Chuck Calestro's Twitter handle. But Epstein fixer office burglarized, computer servers are stolen hours before the document dump. We've got that story on our McFiles Telegram room tonight, and it's probably worth looking at. The other story tonight that a lot of people are probably, and I think a lot of this attention on Epstein has basically hidden, I think, the bigger story of the day. And it's this story right here. I want you to listen to the illustrious nursing home director-in-chief. Today, this is his speech. Now, all you Trump supporters, I'm one of them. Listen up. This is directed at us tonight. This is directed at you. This is directed at me. This is the nursing home director-in-chief. Roll the tape.
Echoing the same exact language used in Nazi Germany. He proudly posts on social media the words that best describe his 2024 campaign. Quote, revenge, quote, power, and quote, dictatorship. There's no confusion about who Trump is, what he intends to do.
That's Mr. Joe Biden today, who basically took his middle finger to 74 million Americans and told us to blank off. And anybody that supports Trump, he says, is a mega extremist. I want to just say this about these comparisons in Nazi Germany. That's rich, coming from a party that embraces Recep Tayyip and embraces Ilhan Omar and Alexander IQ of 2 Cortez and Ariana Presley and other anti-Semites that the Democratic Party held as their leaders. So it's real rich for Joe to claim that Trump is using language from Nazi Germany. Trump did make a statement, and he was doing it with a jest, and this is where President Trump needs to be careful right now. Most of us out here can take a joke, but the problem with it right now, and he should know this by now. If he don't know this by now, there's no hope for Trump. Whatever he says to that media, whether he's saying it in jest, whether he's saying it to be serious, they're going to take it, and they're going to twist it, and they're going to use his words. Those words that Joe claims he's using out there was in an interview that Trump did with Hannity. And Hannity asked him, were you going to get revenge? And Trump made the joke. He said, just within the first day, and then I'll do that. And that was a joke. Trump was saying it tongue-in-cheek. I tell you what they're scared of. They're scared that all hell is going to come down on their head. The Dems and the left are, because of what they've done to Trump. I'd be a little scared too. But that's not a dictator. Folks, there ain't a one of us out here tonight, not one, that our lives have not been affected by an overreaching government that is bordering on a communist nation. If we've ever bordered on communism in this nation, socialism leads to communism, we are already there. You can't breathe. You can't eat. If you can mind me using a blunt term, you can't take a poot. You can't pass wind. You can't breathe the air that God gives us without them telling you what to do, when to do it, and if you don't do it their way, fine you, arrest you, put you in jail, fire you, dominate you, censor you. They do that. And this nursing home dictator in charge, who cannot read a freaking cue card. New Year's Eve night on the ABC Rockin' New Year's Eve show, Ryan Seacrest had to record his New Year's greeting to the country because they were scared that on live national television he would not have had the mental cognizance to say Happy New Year to America. And then when they were recording it, you can see the cue card in for him. He was reading it off the cue card to tell the country Happy New Year. Jill was sitting there whispering in his ear what to say. But yet he's got the blather today to insult mega extremists, as he calls them. I've always made this comment. I believe it's a fake. I think he's faking this mental whatever. That man that just spoke, he was speaking with strong terms. He's a dictator. He's a threat to democracy. And by the way, it's no mistake that they did this on January 5th and not January 6th tomorrow, because they don't want to draw any more attention to what they're doing except what they've already done. By the way, this lady right here, thank you, Tom Fenton, and Judicial Watch, this is breaking tonight, that they have filed a $30 million wrongful death lawsuit against the government on behalf of Ashley Babbitt's husband and her estate in the wrongful death. She is the only person that got shot. Let me say this. Joe Biden, I got a great meme. I want to show you this about this speech today. This was supposed to be his opening speech about his campaign for 2024. Now, what we don't cover tonight, because I want to really talk with you tonight, I'll pick this up Monday night, because a lot of stuff we ain't going to get to tonight, but I want to. But the RNC Research Forum did a great thing today. Number of times that he mentioned the economy, zilch. Inflation, zilch. Border security, zilch. Debt and spending. You realize our debt has hit $39 trillion, folks. $39 trillion with a T. It ain't even going to be your great-great-great-great-grandkids can pay that off. You're going to have to go about 15 generations into your future for that interest on that money to ever be paid off in this country. Basically, what I'm saying, it ain't going to get paid off. We are going to be a debtor nation, and debtor nations do not survive history, folks. Foreign affairs. All these countries rattling their sabers. I don't know if you heard this last night. South Korea had to evacuate 6 cities on their northern border last night. You know why? North Korea started firing missiles into South Korea last night. Do you think there was any response from this nation? Do you think Kim Jong-un would have done that with Trump in office? No, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have dared do it, because he knows what would have happened. The wrath of America would have come down on his head, and the world would have stood up and said that's unacceptable behavior. There's been no response of our government to that today. Nothing. Nothing. Folks, that's the potential of a war. China rattling its saber against Taiwan. Russia, Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine. All these things going on. The Middle East about to go up in smoke. Not one statement about that or national security today. Nothing. Never mentioned it. This speech was a complete blank you to the mega people, telling you, I don't like you. We're going to basically call you extremists. You are the threat to democracy. We're coming after you. And we don't care if the country's in the banker. I was about to use a bad word. It starts with S and ends with R. But he didn't talk about the crime. There's been so many crime reports. We're going to try to bring McJustice back this year. I hope to have brought it back last year, but we're going to do it this year. I'm not sure what night we're going to air it. That's what we're trying to work out. But I love McJustice because we've dealt with the crime situation in this country, and we need to get back to doing that. The fentanyl crisis. All of these things we will be dealing with in our show this coming year as we enter this election season. Not one mention. He did not mention it one time. This angry speech today basically, again, called everybody out there that supports Trump and extremists. And there's going to be another speech that he gives in about 9 days. On the 15th, he's going to Charleston, South Carolina, to speak at that church where there was a racially charged killing about 4 years ago. And from what I understand, his speech there is going to be a race-baiting speech to divide the nation by race. So if these things matter to us, any of you out there tonight, and me, which that's really what we should be talking about, even Nancy Pelosi, and God help me, I want to wash my mouth out with soap what I'm about to say. My mom was here, she washed my mouth out with soap. I could not believe that I was agreeing with Nancy Pelosi last night. Now, if you think things have gotten bad in this country, when Chris starts to agree with Nancy Pelosi, things have gotten sick. But she told CNN last night, she said, if he don't start talking about kitchen top issues, he said he ain't going to win. And she was basically saying to him, stop the Trump stuff, because he can only run on that for so long. It's getting old. It's getting old. But that's the Dems. They don't care about the country. They don't care about the economy. They don't care you paying 3 times at the grocery store what you're paying 3 years ago, 4 years ago. They don't care about our border. That border's no more secure. Mayorkas was evading every question he had on Brett Baer last night, if you listen to that interview. The debt spending, they don't care. They don't care if they spend us into oblivion. They don't care about foreign affairs. Let North Korea shoot into South Korea. Let China take Taiwan. Let the Middle East go up in smoke. Don't back our Israel. Don't back our only ally in the Middle East. Let the anti-Semitism rage in America. Do nothing. Stay nothing. Fight for a transgender to play sports with girls. That's what this White House wants. The climate change stuff. Forget crime. We don't care how bad crime has gotten in this country. The Democrats don't care about that. The fentanyl crisis, it's killing millions in this country that can kill millions. They don't care about that. No, all Biden cared about today was making sure that the world knew and the country knew that the only threat to democracy was you white supremacists and the Trump train. Well, so be it. So be it. Now, a couple of memes tonight, and then I want to get to you. I'm going to say some of this good stuff from Monday night. I'll be back. I wish we had more time tonight, but I want to talk to Lemon Drop. I'm glad she came on. So basically the same people who claimed, and they're claiming tonight, that Trump would destroy the economy, start World War III, erase democracy, and so forth, they themselves have crashed the economy and are on track with their weak leadership to start World War III. Makes sense to me. And we are the patriotic deplorables. I'm going to keep this up for Monday night because we're going to revisit this Monday night. I got a video I want to play you by Ricky Gervais. This was a few years ago, one of the Oscars, and of all the videos I heard today, I laughed about this one the hardest. I got a lot I laughed about. But you gotta salute him. You just gotta salute him. Because he let the media and the Hollywood elites have it at a speech at the Oscars. That's why Ricky Gervais ain't been back hosting the Oscars. I'd have given him a standing ovation, but to watch the crowd, especially Tom Hanks, roll tape.
In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to the cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done Netflix, you win everything, good night. But no, we got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer, and it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
Come on, Ricky. Look at
You
their
had to make your
faces.
own way here in your own plane, didn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and off, okay?
Did you see Hank's expression? That's priceless. That's priceless. Hank, by the way, right after that speech, him and his wife left the country. They went over and lived in Monte Carlo for about 2 years. They're back now, I think. But they took off. But that was, I think, 2 years ago, maybe 3, that Gervais said that. That was priceless. It played well tonight. He could have done that speech at this year's Oscar. I'd have loved to have seen what the reaction is going to be at this year's Oscar if you had somebody with some guts and some balls on him to say the same thing to this bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood. Because that's where a lot of this crap is coming from tonight. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. And in the church system, in the higher echelons of many of these church denominations, folks, it's raging like a raging demonic fire. And these kids are being raped and sodomized and trafficked and pillaged and groomed. And the media, all they care about tonight is whether Trump wasn't on that list and why he wasn't on that list. I'm going to read one meme and get ready for your questions. It's really not a meme. It's from Donald Trump Jr. I'm going to have to save the memes for Monday night. Monday night meme night. Maybe that's what I need to name Monday night meme. This is Donald Trump Jr. And he said this. He said, the left is so much more upset that Trump isn't on the Epstein Island list than they are with the actual Democrat elite pedophiles who are on the list and who took part in child molestation. That tells you all you need to know about today's Democrat Party and their leaders. The only thing I disagree with about that is that he should have put both parties. Because it's not just Democrats. It's not just Democrats. Not just Democrats. I know Trump Jr. wants to throw shade on the Dems. And they got a lot of shade to have shade thrown on them. It's not just the Dems. It's not just the Dems. And I don't think anybody out there would believe it's just them anyway. All righty. I'm about to unleash the gates of hell by opening that chat up. Lord help us. We got 205. We got almost 300 folks watching us tonight live. We're grateful for you. So as you see the screen pop up now on the YouTube in our McFiles network, which we're about to change the name of soon, we're going to call it the Pace Yourself in 2024 network. To all the haters out there, pace yourself. Pace your dumb foolery. Pace yourself. We're just in January. And this really has been an unofficial start to the new year. We had Lemon Drop, and she knows. I'm going to hear about that comment. I told her she was number 2. If you upset me and Lemon Drop, we can kid each other. We don't get offended. Some of you, I couldn't say that to some of you. Some of you wouldn't speak to me for a year if I said that to you. Lemon Drop say that. She laughs. She laughs about it. Then she comes back with something rougher than that with me, and I just laugh at her about it. We just go at each other. We've been doing that for 5 years now. But she's a great investigative journalist. She's done a lot of work on this stuff, and she knows. She knows a lot of stuff that she's been sort of out of her game the last few years because of her work and everything, but she's getting back into it. But we're grateful to have her back tonight. Really am. All right, now, you got a question. You got a question about the show or a comment, put it in there. It's 10:55, and we'll take your questions tonight. I've got a lot more to talk about, but we set our piece for Friday night. I'm going to get Ron Edwards in here maybe Monday night. Well, I know we got Leslie Millwee coming next week. She's going to be really great. Really, really great. Let's see here. There was one thing about climate change I wanted to post up here. Believe it or not, there's been 41 climate disaster predictions since just 1967. I was 2 years old. Their record so far is 0 for 41. 0 and 41. In sports, the first number is your wins. The second number are your losses. 0 for 41. They're 0 and 41. Just a reminder tonight. Carrie likes my my new nickname, the McFiles Pace Yourself Network. I thought that was pretty good, Henderson. What you think? What you think? Jason, is Hillary on that list? You know, that's a great question. Her name has not been mentioned. Her name has not been mentioned. Bill's has been mentioned. I'm going to say something. Hillary ain't that stupid. Hillary wouldn't be that stupid with her political ambitions to be caught dead with Jeffrey Epstein. Pardon the pun. When you say the term dead and Clinton's, sort of an anomaly between the two, you know? Sort of an anomaly between the two. Good question, buddy. I don't know. That's great. I'm going to check into that. I'll ask Lemon Drop about that. It's a good question. It's a good question. Good question. Really good question. Let's see here. Okay. Good deal. All righty. Jason Miller's in the house. Ken, Carrie, Jenny, good to see y'all tonight. Got a question for me. Put some questions out there. If Cleo, if you're out there, hon, if you're still out there, our Facebook audience, let me go to our Facebook page and see if we got any questions, because Facebook usually pops in quick with the questions. I have to wait on YouTubers to put questions in. Hang on just 1 second. Let me make sure we're up and going over there. I will tell you this. Hang on just a second. This is probably going to... You can put questions in. Here we go. All right. Mary Cleveland says, I didn't think about how some of these people on that list could simply have been hitching a ride. Yep. I'll agree with that. Corey Aguilar says, how can Clinton deny his involvement when we've seen the gross blue dress painting? Corey, that is excellent. That is an excellent question. And that... It's not just that. There's other things that are going on. Look, the Clintons can deny everything. That, I should have downloaded that tonight. I thought I did. The thing about Hillary. Let me see if I can find it. It's hilarious. It is really hilarious if I can find it tonight. Here it is. This is the Babylon Bee tonight. And even though they're a satire newspaper, I'll just let that speak for itself. I'm going to tell you who the person's in trouble with he's in trouble with that about tonight, Corey. It ain't the public. It ain't the media. It ain't the FBI. It ain't any of that. It's her. It's her. Because he is damaging her political future. Now, there are rumblings out there that she is giving thought. If Joe Biden stumbles, don't be surprised. If the rematch in 24 may not be the rematch of 2020, it may be the rematch of 2016. I've been hearing that more and more in the last few weeks. And I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And this ain't going to help. So, you Babylon Bee folks are good. They are good. They are good. Dennis Floyd says the debt clock shows 34 trillion rather than 39. Well, Dennis, what's 5 trillion? What's the big deal? What's 5 trillion, brother? 5 trillion, 4 trillion, 39, 34. What's a few $1 trillion? Do you think anyone on that list will be arrested or prosecuted, Greg? Are you kidding me? No. Greg, good to see you, by the way, tonight, Greg. You're new. No, not a prayer. And I think Lemon said it right. Until the DOJ is cleaned out and the FBI is cleaned out and we get a justice system that's not corrupt, no. None of those people will. And look, the fact of the matter is, I understood what Joe Concha was saying this morning. It hit me the wrong way, the way he said it and the way the networks have gone out of their way today to cover for that list, because their big narrative today, and it's the talking point, I should say, that's what I should call it. The talking point today is nobody on that list has been charged criminally, and they're absolutely right. That part they're right about. They're right about. Hey, Dennis, by the way, I was just thinking, give it a little time. Don't worry, that 39 figure that I said, I might be wrong about it tonight. Give it another year, brother. Trust me, 39 will be probably what we'll be pushing by the time this administration's out. So anyway, Julia Carter says, do you think the list has been altered, names taken off and names added? Anything's possible. But folks, let me do my rant for a Friday night to y'all. And again, this is just my opinion. We're wasting our time chasing this rabbit. But I was telling some folks today, the world, the media, America, Q, all these Twitter handles, all these telegrams, everybody has got their focus right here on this Epstein list. That's all we got focused on. And we're doing it tonight. Because I know this would be what people were wanting to know about. But we're doing it tonight. This is going to be the last show on it. I'm not going to mention it no more. But the more I thought about this today, I was thinking, why are we fascinated with court documents of this when really it involves a bunch of elite, rich, snob, elite politicians, actors, entertainers, bankers that are billionaires, millionaires, that they will never be touched by the law. And what I said about North Korea is important. The world around us tonight, folks, we are this close. We are this close to World War III and a global explosion to where your life and my life is going to change forever, and it's not going to be changed for the best. We are this close tonight to a communist dictatorship in this country. We are this close to having so many people overrun this border that we will not know America as an American state much longer. We're this close. I mentioned the economy. Folks, inflation is exploding like a bomb. Inflation, crime. You can't walk to your mailbox. I was watching a video just the other night. There was a child in Walmart. His mom, he was on aisle 15. The mom was on the same aisle of the child. She walked 10 feet away from that child, and some moron tried to kidnap the kid in open daylight, and the mom was standing right there. She didn't even leave the kid and walk around the aisle. She was standing right there, 10 feet from the youngin'. And somebody caught it on video. That's how dangerous your society, my society, has become tonight. But our focus is not about all that. No, our focus is on this list of a bunch of pedophile elite you-know-whats. And my suggestion to you tonight, folks, is get it off that list. Because there ain't no justice coming to that list. The only justice that's coming is eternal. But that list is not going to fix the problems in this country. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, and some of you ain't going to like it. A lot of this fallacious talk, and this crazy talk that Epstein's alive, folks, that you can thank the Q buddies for that. You can thank the Q movement for that. They thought JFK was alive. You remember that? You remember all that crap about JFK Jr. walking the earth, and he was going to just pop up in 2020 during the election and save Trump, and him and Trump were going to form the super mega ticket, and JFK was going to put Hillary in jail with every revelation? They're saying the same thing about Epstein now. Same movement. I'm not saying all of it's that. Some of it's just from a bunch of crazy kooks that are on meth or on something tonight. Let me encourage you tonight. Don't get mad at me. But let me encourage you. Get your mind off that list. Because that list, folks, ultimately ain't going to save this country. If they put every single person in jail that went to that island and did something, it's not going to save this country. Our problems go way beyond that. And don't sit out there and twist that and say, well, Chris just don't care about pedophilia, so he said let's not to worry about it. No, I didn't say that. Chris is very concerned about pedophilia. We've got a network that's been dedicated to bringing awareness to this and trafficking and all these things for 5 years, 6 years, going on 7, folks. We've had guests, Eric Karen, we've had Brad Johnson, we've had so many guests out there. We got more coming this year. We got Leslie Millway coming this next week. We're going to talk about the connection to this next week. I wished I didn't have to talk about this list because we got more pressing, dangerous issues facing this country than a dead pedophile. He's dead. We can't bring him out of the grave and punish him anymore for what he has done and what he's left in his wake. And you say, well, we can punish the people that were on that island. If they can be proven that they committed crimes, I'm for putting them in the electric chair. How does that sound to you? I'm okay with the punishment. I'm okay with going after these bastards that did this stuff to these kids. But my point tonight is we need to be shaken from this morbid fascination with this kind of stuff, because it's tawdry, it's dirty, because it's salacious and it's sensational, and everybody wants to know and get their piece of flesh in it. That's why people want to know about it. What does that say about our society? What does that say about us tonight? We need to take a gut check about that. The country and the world, folks, is this close from an explosion and on a powder keg that, let me tell you something, what I believe's coming, we ain't going to be cared about the Epstein list, what's coming at some point. And you know something? I'll amen myself tonight. Jason Miller says, how do Dems rob the red states in election? Through the border. Border spelled backwards is red rob. Very good. Ken liked my post. He said, truth bomb. Holly liked that too. If some of folks didn't, we lost some folks on the Q comment. Folks, I don't care. If you're dumb enough, if you're dumb as rocks to believe that Jeffrey Epstein's walking this earth, you're just plain stupid. You're just plain stupid. And it's the same group that thought JFK Jr. And some of them still think he's walking the earth. That's not a sound mind. Not a sound mind. I'm going to tell you what. When this world blows up and this whole world goes up in smoke and World War and all these things happen, I'm going to tell you something. The last thing we're going to be talking about is who was on that list and who wasn't. I'll stand behind that. I'll say amen to myself. I'll say amen to myself. Roger says, you're right, Chris. This Epstein stuff is interesting, but will never be prosecuted. I don't think it will, Roger. Honestly, I don't. It's going to take an overhaul of the justice system and an overhaul of the FBI that I'm afraid will never come. Look, Trump could come in and do it, but look, nothing against President Trump, folks, but we hope that his judgment's going to be a lot better. He put freaking Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions as his attorney general back to back. And then I heard the patriotic Q movement tell me that this was part of the plan and that this was a movie and Trump knew what he was doing. And then both those attorney generals basically did absolutely nothing, tied their hands together and said, we're not going to prosecute a soul. He had 4 years to go after all these pedophiles. And I'm not blaming Trump, folks, and don't misunderstand me. And I want to just say something about what I said the other night. I do not blame Trump for the division. Some folks insinuated when I was talking about the things that define us and divide us, I was saying Trump divided us. No. What divided us is this. And I want to thank my dear friend Richard Moxley for saying this, because I've said it before, and he reminded me of this. He called me the other day, and he said, I want you to remind you of what you said, and it helped me. You cannot have a righteous leader over an unrighteous people and not have division. You're always going to have division. You can't have an unrighteous leader over a nation that has righteous people in it and not have division. So, if we think that Trump's going to come in and we're going to have this utopia, I'll put it like this. Ken Henderson has got something in those pancakes that he builds in those Iowa backfields. No, he don't. But I'm just saying. You'd be better off to smoke some Iowa weed than to believe that there's a utopia coming with Trump, folks. It ain't going to happen. And the division has been there from day one. That speech today by Joe Biden is how they feel about Saul. Look, Joe's Joe. He's only speaking for the folks that hate Trump. All righty. I've been going an hour and 19 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. So I got 10 more minutes. All right. I'm going to let you have at it. Go ahead. Corey says, I read there are 3.2 illegal aliens that crossed the border in 23. I think that number is higher. I know it's higher, Corey. I know it's higher. We've had 750,000 just since October the 1st, actually. That's $750,000. That's $750,000 illegals. It's a lot. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to basically destroy everything we got. They're giving these people free health care. Gavin Newsom's actually saying he'll change their gender for them tonight. He say if you're a man coming in as an illegal and you want to have your cut off, come on to California. We'll do it for you. I'm sure you Californians are proud of that. Not. Anyway. Thank you, Jenny. I like that cowboy hat too. Julia, your question about the names being altered on that list, and I wasn't trying to make any kind of shade about that. Look, I don't doubt that list has gone through redactions and redactions, and it is given. There's a lot of Jane Does on there that they have not revealed. I think when I heard, I was not aware of the plea deal that Ghislaine Maxwell got. Chris has followed this, and when she said tonight that this lady's she's facing 20 years in federal prison, 20. And they offered to cut that sentence down, and she wouldn't even blink, wouldn't even budge, wouldn't even move, didn't even move the barometer for her, because she's scared. She's scared for her life, I'm sure, to reveal who's on that list and what really went down. So we ain't gonna get to the truth. So an altered list, yeah, that's not out of the realm. That's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not out of the realm of probability. Michelle, what are they distracting us from? Michelle, I just gave you the list. I'll tell you what they're distracting us from. They're distracting us from that right there. Those tabletop issues that Nancy P. said last night that Joe needs to be focusing on, but he ain't. He's focusing on me and you out there, us mega folks. The economy, the inflation, border security, debt spending, foreign affairs, national security, crime, fentanyl that's flowing over our border like a waterfall. That's what they're distracting us from. That's what this Epstein list is distracting us from tonight. And it's also distracting us from Burisma and Joe and Hunter Biden. Have you noticed that nobody's talked about Joe and Hunter Biden today for the last 48 hours? Nothing. We got a few stories we're going to talk about it Monday night. I wanted to talk to Ron about Biden's comments, and I may get him on. We may have a doubleheader Monday night. Anyway. Oh, Michelle, don't have to be sorry. You don't have to be sorry. I'm just pointing out what they're distracting us from. You don't have to apologize. I'm a big bear, Michelle. Just understand I'm a big old teddy bear. My bark is worse than my bite. Folks that have followed this show for 7 years know that. They know I'm just an old grumpy cuss. But deep down, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. Even to the haters, the betrayers, and all the other folks out there. I love everybody. But no, seriously, Michelle, listen. That's what they're distracting us from, dear. That's what they're distracting us from. They don't want us to talk about these things. And again, folks, I'm not trying to make light of this list tonight. It's very dangerous, a very serious thing that's going on and has been going on for many, many years. I guess my question is, I know this is going to sound a little biting. Why did we need Trump to make us know that pedophilia was going on and it was evil? Because I hear that a lot, that Trump brought the exposure to this. Well, my question is, where have we been for the last 30 blanking years with our heads stuck up our backsides not to have exposed it already ourselves? Because it's been going on. This ain't some new phenomenon. This ain't something that's... Look, and again, Catholics, I love you. I'm not trying to throw shade on the Catholic Church tonight, folks. But these situations in these churches, and it's been the Protestants and the Catholics and all across the board, the world at large, the country at large, turned a blank eye to it, deaf ear to it. And then all of a sudden, Trump takes the lid off of it, and, oh my God, Trump's exposing all this. Well, where have we been? Have we been that deaf that we didn't recognize this as evil? And we get a list tonight, and we act shocked that Bill Clinton's on it. We act shocked that the Hollywood elites are on it. We act shocked that politicians are on it. We act shocked. We shouldn't be shocked. We should be disgusted, but we shouldn't be shocked. I'll amen myself. Good to see you, Michelle. Jamie Wright popped in the house. Good to see Jamie tonight. Good to see. Carol Smith says, agreeing with everything I'm saying. Carol, she gets an apple, and we don't even do our Bible study tonight. I'm giving Carol Smith an apple tonight. Nobody agrees with everything I say. Thank you. Oh. All right. I got 4 minutes. You got anything to say? You better say it now. Forever hold your peace. At least for this first week of the shows. Oh, let's see here. Crickets from the Me Too movement. Oh, Corey, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I got to find something. I'm going to deal with that Monday night. There was a post. I'm glad you brought that up. There was a post on X today. It used to be Twitter. And there was a guy that was being interviewed. And he said that there were many Muslims that stood by, or many organizations that stood by as Hamas raped the women in Gaza during that invasion on October the 7th. They'd pull them out of the car, rape them, and then kill them right there in cold blood, right in front of everybody in open daylight. These groups stood by, and they've said nothing. And literally the quote was, "Me too, except if you're a Jew." Me too, except for Jews. Me too, except if you're a Jew. That's what's happening tonight. Where is the Me Too movement? And where's the Me Too movement on this? And this attitude that everybody can just throw crap on the wall and say everything they want to say about somebody without any kind of proof or any kind of meaning, just to slander and slur and destroy. But yet, when real hard evidence emerges of things and people are being raped and killed and murdered and babies' heads cut off, you got Christians out there supporting the rapist. They are. When they slur Israel and they claim Israel's lying about it, they're supporting the rapist. And a lot of this is coming from the same Me Too movement that would accuse somebody at a drop of a heartbeat. I'll amen myself again. Corey, I'm glad you said that. That made me think about that. And it has been crickets. They have been crickets tonight. Greg Christian, 400,000 has gone missing in the USA every year. You're right, Chris. What have we been doing for the last 30 years? The kids on milk cartons were taken. We were just asleep. Greg, that is so well said. That is so well said. Where have we been for the last 30 years? Why did it take a billionaire politician to wake us up? And you're absolutely right. These kids have been on milk cartons, and there's been missing kid networks going on for 30 years, and nobody has said a word about it. And all of a sudden Trump comes in, and all of a sudden we have found Jesus. And pedophilia is bad. Wow. That's a question we need to ask. We all need to ask ourselves that question tonight. That's a question we all need to ask ourselves. I ask myself that every day. I do. It's why did it take a politician to open our eyes to this stuff? Were we that daft? What were we doing? Where are we going as a society? And I saw a lady post something tonight, and it's sort of what we've been talking about in the morning studies. No empire. We said it Tuesday night. No empire has survived pedophilia being a prominent thing of any society. No empire that allows that kind of behavior survives history. And this one will be no different. This one will be no different if we continue to allow it. I got to play Ricky Gervais's thing one more time. I don't have an outgo, so I'm going to play Gentle on My Mind. Marcia Montenegro actually gave me a compliment. She had never heard me sing before like that, and she texted me today. She said, I like that song, and she don't even like music. So I was actually said, wow, thank you, Marcia. Was she good last night? She was great, wasn't she? Here's Ricky again. This is worth watching again. I'm going to say goodnight on this. I'll see you. Listen, this has been sort of a sketch week. We get back at it Monday night. Full week of shows next week. I'll see you Sunday morning, Sunday night. We may see you tomorrow night. We love you all. We love every one of you. Whether you're here, gone, have been here, was here, not here, half in, half out. Love me, hate me. Say what you want to about me. It don't matter. We still love you. Here's Ricky Gervais, 3 years ago, explaining life to a bunch of Hollywood elites.
In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to the cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done Netflix, you win everything, good night. But no, we got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer, and it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and off, okay?
That's how you handle elites. Have a good night, everybody. Great week. 24 has started off with a bang. We ain't got to the good stuff yet. It's going to be a great year ahead. Thank you for being with us on the McFiles journey. We'll see you next week with some more shows, and may the Lord bless you tonight. Have a great week, and be safe out there in the east with those snowstorms and the rain and everything. Good night, everybody. It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk. It makes me tend to leave my sleeping bag rolled up and stashed behind your couch. It's knowing I'm not shackled by forgotten words and laws and the ink stains that have dried upon some line. That keeps you in the back roads by the rivers of my memory. That keeps you ever gentle on my mind. It's not clinging to the rocks and ivy painted on their columns now that bind me. Or something that somebody said because they thought we fit together walking. It's not knowing that the world will not be cursing or forgiven when I walk around the railroad track and find that you're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory, and hours you're just gentle on my mind. Though the wheat fields and the clotheslines and the junkyards and the highways come between us, and some other woman's crying to her mother 'cause she turned and I was gone, I still might run in silence, tears of joy might stain my face, and the summer sun might burn me till I'm blind. But not to where I cannot see you, walking on the back roads by the rivers flowing gentle on my mind. I dip my cup of soup back from a gurgling, crackling cauldron in some train yard. My beard a rustling towel and a dirty hat pulled low across my face. Through cup hands round the tin can, I pretend to hold you to my breast and find that you're waiting from the back roads by the rivers of my memories, ever smiling, ever gentle on my mind.